guys, welcome back to another episode of my Hardcore Minecraft series. As you just saw, I had to relocate my cows because I want to bring all of my farms into this one tower, my big spire. I want everything to be in here so that when I do any AFKing, I can be getting all the materials I need without having to go and load different farms or have any chunk loaders and different things like that. So I started off with my cows, just a very simple one. It uses entity cramming. I built it very early on in my starter house. Just need a lot of wheat to breed these guys up, and then when there's more than 24 in here, they start dying, and then I start getting all the leather. As you can see, I've gotten some. This isn't enough for in here for the entity cramming, just because I couldn't grab all of them, and I kind of gave up on pushing them into the one by one hole. So I'll slowly get them up. I got all this just from killing the ones that were nearby and any that died from fall damage. Next up, we need to start getting my other farms. So my other two farms that I was talking about that need to be relocated are located in these two houses here. Originally, I wanted to have each house have its own kind of farming thing, but I think it's just going to be aesthetics mostly, maybe store some special things in here eventually. But one farm is down here, and it's just a very simple bamboo farm. So as you can see from here, it is quite an efficient one. I keep having to craft all this stuff up to save on space. I'll probably implement a nice auto crafter in here now that I understand them a little bit better, because when I originally built this, I didn't understand how they worked. So now we can take this one, we're going to disassemble it, bring it all up into my tower, maybe onto a new floor, and maybe I can start separating the floors based on what each one is producing. The next farm is over in this house. If we just slide on inside here, we can see I've got my villager trading hall, which will also be moved pretty soon. I have my sugarcane farm, and as you can see, it is quite efficient since I don't spend too much time over here, and it is only these two, you can just saw it how it went off, these two modules. It can go as many as you want for however much you need, however fast you need it. I don't need it too fast right now, but maybe in the future I'll need to expand more. But we're going to also take this one, and it's also going to go on to the Spire. Now you might be wondering, why do I need all my stuff in the one spot? It's because I've learned a very valuable lesson from building my museum. As you can see, it is basically all complete on the exterior of the whole thing. I've just got a lot of interior decorating, as well as a little bit of gathering, because we actually have to start filling the museum now. But something I learned from building this entire thing was I need all of my farms active at once. Because whilst building over here, my super smelter, my wool farm, it's all unloaded. It's not actually technically loaded in, I guess. So it's not all going along, and all my stuff isn't being collected. So I'm wasting a lot of time, especially when I'm on stream. I don't want to have to constantly be running back and just AFKing during streaming. Doesn't make it very entertaining. So I want it to be an all-in-one farming tower. So that's why we're going to get all this stuff together. And in today's episode, we're going to use some of this stuff to complete my library. Now, you might be wondering, what library am I talking about? And it is this one on my third floor. If you see down there, I've got my super smelter there, and I started prepping up my library. This is where eventually I'll be bringing all of my good villagers over, just so if I ever need a good trade, it's here, and it's kind of all put together in here. So I'm going to need a lot of books, not just for building these shelves and all the areas and all the different lecterns, but I want to decorate this room too. I want to have wall to wall, ceiling to floor, books, and just make it look a lot cooler so it's a little bit more of a unique floor in its own. So that is why I needed, if we go up here, I needed my cows so I can get plenty of leather to get the books, as well as I need all the sugarcane to get the paper. Right now I could probably craft up a bunch, but I'm gonna need a lot more, so we're gonna have to start collecting more of that. So talking about splitting up the floors, I'm thinking this is going to be the wildlife floor. So I've got my bees, now I've got my cows, my sheep, so I might end up relocating my carrot farm. But now that I'm thinking about that with all my redstone, this actually might need to be dismantled just because it's not very useful. Because, as you can see from here, I'm creating carrots much faster than I'm creating gold. So I don't really need the whole recycler thing. I thought I was being smart. Maybe if I had tons and tons of gold and a very weak farm, that might be a good idea, but alas, I don't have that much gold and I don't like spending a lot of time in the nether AFKing there. So we might dismantle this, just make the very basic auto crafter, just so I can dump a bunch of gold into one area, store all my carrots nicely together, and maybe this farm can go up one floor. So if we go up here, we have a bunch of empty floors, all free canvas, just to make it a little more controlled. So we have one, two, and then three empty floors. So I'm thinking wildlife. We're gonna do the maybe all the farming. So we're gonna do my carrots for my golden carrots. Maybe we can portion off one of these for something else. Maybe I could do a bit of wheat because I'm gonna need a lot of wheat for my cows, and maybe expand some more like not livestock, because livestock's down there. I need more of like the greenery, the vegetables, maybe the sugar cane and bamboo can also go on this floor, and that leaves a couple more for other farms that I'll probably come up with much later. But let's first transfer all the farms into the tower. Alright, and here we are. So we're on to the next level. So I've got my husbandry area down there with my bees, my cows, my sheep. I've moved up across the way just because the doors on this side and this part, like the doors alternate between each floor. So now my farming is over here. This side I have carrots, on this side I've started wheat. I want to see if it's possible. Looks like still getting through a little bit of the carrots from what was left over I originally planted, and then I realized I need a lot of wheat for stuff too, for all the breeding of the cows down there. It's always good to have a bit of wheat on hand, plus needing hay bales for like things like target blocks is always helpful to have on hand. Now over here, I took it apart, but I only reassembled one of these just because it didn't really fit in here. And I don't need a lot of sugarcane, especially since I've got a lot of extra. So 3 from whence I started this. So it's just a small little module. I could maybe do another one on this side and have one on each wing. I'm leaving this side open just because if we look over here, there are my holes all the way down. So the plan is, as I gather a lot of things, like when I have a lot of sugarcane, it's going to go into like a pipe and then go all the way down to my storage system, so I don't actually have to come up here and load it all in to get all my stuff. It'll all be waiting for me down at the bottom. Same for all the rest of this stuff. It'll kind of just be shot down, and then when I remake my storage system, so instead of using redstone like it is now, I'll probably use the copper golems and get them to sort everything properly. It takes a little bit longer, but it kind of adds a little bit more mechanical feel to it. I also got my bamboo farm up here. It's doing pretty good. This is since I started, because this is what was left over. So I shrunk it just by a couple modules so I could shove it back a little bit further. I'm not sure. Oh yeah, no. Wasn't sure why I put it up by one. It's just because I need the hopper and then the chest here. So it needed to be not in the ground floor, since the floors are only 1 thick. It would have shown below, and I don't really want that. So these are all the farms up here onto my kind of growing. It's hard to, like, I guess the vegetation and greenery floor. And then we're down onto the animal floor. So I got more space now. This is where it used to be. Let's check the light levels quickly. Don't want anything spawning on me. I just got to kind of shift this up, remove all the excess that doesn't need to be here anymore. Got a lot of carrots that I can shift around, but everything's looking pretty good. Alright, quick little insert before we get on to the later half of this episode. I did just notice that these guys don't really work for wheat. They don't share it, they just leave it on the ground. So I'm going to have to probably raise all this up by one and maybe stick some hopper minecarts underneath to collect all of the wheat. And then maybe it can like throw back the seeds back in unless they are picking them up. I think it's picking up some of these carrots is the problem, because he's got a lot left in his inventory because I dragged him up from what he had in his inventory originally. So it looks like I'm gonna have to work on this before it's a fully functioning wheat farm. You know, I thought I was being smart with that cow farm bringing it close, but I did forget. I think I got enough leather in here. A little bit of an oversight on my side, but at least now we have a cow farm close to base if I need just a couple or even just a little bit of meat, even though I've got my golden carrots. So that was just a little bit of wasted time. So now let's head back up. I've made up my wheat farm. So we're going to go and check out the progress on that. It's been going for a little bit while. So it's just basically I removed one of them, moved the carrots over to this side, got my Fletcher trader over here, so he throws it in, and then I'll get my tube of hoppers to collect the carrots because I don't need that many. Got a lot more than I think I do, or that I ever need. So this just hopper goes along, brings them over here. You can see we're gathering some wheat. Don't have any blocks, so let's try and fly on top. Cut the speed. And I got a farmer up here, and he's just doing the wheat, and since his inventory is full, he can't also get to there to make the bread. So he just drops the wheat on the floor, goes into my hopper system, and then I've got infinite wheat coming through very slowly, but it is just enough to collect for any breeding or any other needs I might have for it in the future. But now I have all the leather and all the paper I should need, so now we can start getting all of my books made, and then we can build up a little bit and then get our villagers in here. So let's get to it. Alright, and this is the little bit of library that I've built. This part is more a bit decorative. Maybe I can store some books in here. I did leave a little bit of space, so if I do come through here, gotta use the silk touch, don't want to break those. I've got a little bit of space. Maybe I could hide something back here, do a bit of redstone, maybe use a comparator on one of these bookshelves that hides something. I know it's single player, so hiding things and doing secret entrances doesn't really make much sense since I'm the only one in this world, but it's a little bit of a fun challenge to add a little bit of detail. Next up is my trading center. So in each of these little spots, I'm going to have a villager, and then I'm going to trap them in here so that they can't get out, and I'll be able to trade with them. You can see I've got the lecterns on each side, so they're a little bit tucked away. You can't really see them too well. So now the next project is to bring the villagers here, because currently they're all still down in my village, if we can get here. So they're still in that house in the basement. It's not those guys, those are just some random ones. So I gotta get a bunch of boats, grab my happy gas, he's probably still inside my museum, or maybe he's floating around, and I'll bring them over and then sneak them into each of the spots, maybe add a little bit of a label to each one, and then, oh, there he is, he's up there. I gotta label each one and then maybe light it up a little bit better. Because you might notice this is kind of familiar if you watch my book to block series, because this is a very similar design to how my library is in that series. So I kind of just took the whole design, brought it over, adjusted it for this side of the wall, kind of have it working with the curve. If we fly up here, currently there's no way to get up here. So maybe that's what I'll do with the secret entrance. I'll have a staircase hidden back over here, and the only way to get to it is to find the right book in the right bookshelf, and then these are maybe the more expensive books and things I can like keep lists of stuff in the future. But now, let's go get those villagers. Alright, so we're down here in the village, so first things first, we gotta block off this staircase so none of the other villagers can make their way down here. Looks like it's all blocked off nicely. So it's all these guys that I'm gonna be taking, all the specialty like my fortune, infinity, what's this guy? This is my unbreaking guy. So just bring all these guys up. So I've loaded up with a bunch of boats, which is the bamboo because I have lots of that bamboo growing. So we're gonna place a bunch of these all around. Let's block off this path down here so they don't run away, and then we can start letting them out of their little holes here, and then they can they'll probably run in here, and then I'll slowly bring them out. So let's release them all. I'll have to get all the signs. The signs are here, so I can just reuse these signs for later. Let's get all these guys. These guys are my emerald makers, so I'll leave them here for now. Maybe I can bring them up a little bit later. But these guys are the priority. So we're getting them all into the boats. This guy's still trapped a little bit. Come on out. Can throw you in your own boat. And then we're gonna attach these guys, as many as I can, into my happy gas. So that's the next step. And then we can transport them all safely. Alright, so we got them all transported in. Now for the hard part. I gotta get them into each of their individual kind of little standing cubbies. So I don't know how these guys are going to react the second I let them go. because I think the lecterns are the only thing around here that they can interact with. So we're going to first do a test on this guy. Alright, so maybe he wants to go upstairs. Let's see. No, okay, he's doing a bit of parkour. Let's see. No, not up there. Okay. Interesting take. I'm gonna try and maybe shove him in. Let's go around him. Poke him through a little bit. Really likes up here for some reason. Let's try push him into this one. There we go. Alright, so we have our looting 3 guy up here. So now is for the fun part of doing all these guys and trying to get them all in. I do have a couple extra villagers that kind of tagged along, so if I do have extra spaces, which I think I might, I'll be able to put one in there, and then if I ever need another enchantment of some kind, I can re-roll him to what I need. So let's get to putting these guys in place. I hate villagers so much. That took way too long. I'm short one villager, so that's not a problem. I can get another bit later, but these guys are the absolute worst. They don't listen, they jump over boats somehow, they jump out windows for some reason. I had to throw this in so it would stop throwing us out the window. This is probably one I'll have to put a glass bit on. Oh, it looks like I need to put that back on. And they just don't listen. As I said in, I think it was episode 5, I hate villagers. But now they're all trapped in here. I might replace this trapdoor with something a little bit more sturdy just so I don't accidentally right-click it when I'm going to trade with these guys. I did punch one of them, don't know which one. I think it was the Aqua Affinity one. He's in here somewhere and he knows what he did. Maybe it's this one? No, but I'll see it by the him charging me a little bit more. He's probably on the upstairs, but that is the library all put together. We can go. Take a nicer look up here. It's better than it was. Still a bit more detailing. Up here I want to maybe add something that kind of like a centerpiece up there. Maybe decorate the walls a little bit more. I have to figure out how I'm including these pipes in, because I've mentioned before, this is how I'm going to get all of the materials from my farms from up here into my sorting system, but I need to get my sorting system, well, sorted first with all my iron or copper golems. That's the plan at least, to get them going down there and remove all the redstone because it's clunky and it only works for like singular items. So I need to redo it all, figure out how I want to kind of jam it all in, and then I can maybe decorate like in between the tubes. Another thing I did is I've been complaining about not knowing which floor things are on. So I've gone on, it's hard to do it when flying with rockets, so we'll just do, so we got some furnaces here, we got our bookshelves for the library, nothing's on this floor yet, so it's left blank. Up here I started thinking, so I'm thinking I'm going to do a honeycomb, maybe a bit of wool, maybe when I add some more animal things in here I can decorate a little bit more. Up here I've started with a bit of bamboo, bit of wheat, can go a little bit more things. Sugarcane doesn't have a block, but I can figure out some other things just so I know when I'm flying up which floor to get off on. And I've also removed some of the, we can go out here, you can see I've removed the fences from each of these corners so I can easily get in and out because I'm never really going to use the staircase. That's all aesthetic or for transporting mobs up or basically anything else other than transporting myself because it's just so much faster to fly and get up and down this center column. But now the library's looking good. Let's pick up my stuff. I used a lot of inventory space there, so I might have to go and break some of these lecterns just so that they're assigned to the right people, but I don't really need them assigned because it's only needed for like refreshing of the trades, or if they run out and they're like all sold out, then I need them to have their own so that they can refresh their inventory. But I think that is where we're going to leave it. This dealing with villagers has left my heart in a pain state, and I am exhausted just from shoving them around for the past, I don't know, half hour. That took way longer than it needed to be, especially the guys that fell out of the room. I lost them at one point, didn't realize they had just fallen onto this ledge. But I think that's enough for today's episode. So if you have any suggestions for what I can be doing in future episodes, I really appreciate anything in the comments down below. I'm just kind of building farms and getting my setup. Right now, all that's left for my museum is really a little bit of interior, which might be done by now, or it might be done on one of my other live streams. I've built this entire thing on my live streams over on Twitch, so if you're interested in seeing the builds like that, you can go over and check, see when I'm live. I post shorts whenever I'm going to go live and things like that. And I'll be starting to collect stuff, so maybe I can do an episode on item collection where either I splice together bits from a live stream or I do it on my own and just start collecting either mobs or maybe some blocks and items from far away and bringing them to my museum. Other than that, I think that'll be it for today. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed, please leave a like and subscribe for more episodes coming soon. Until next time.